All right, let's go ahead and get on into it. So what we're doing tonight is a couple of we're going to continue on with the tournament that we were doing yesterday. So number 4, Brood War, which is still in progress. And then we're going to go in and we're going to do a little bit of SC2 if we have some time. I don't think I clicked on plays. Let me see. Here we go. So yesterday what we did is we did Brood War number 4, lower bracket, round 1, and then we did winners bracket, round 2. We're going to go ahead and we're going to go through losers bracket, round 3, and then the winners bracket semifinals. Now the losers bracket semifinals isn't complete yet, but once that's done, we'll go ahead and cast that, and then we will get into the finals from there. But after doing the winners bracket semifinals, we'll at least know who one of the players is for the lower bracket semifinals and the one that will be making it into the finals for this tournament. So let's go ahead and kick it off. We'll do game 1. And this is going to be on Dominator. Let's get into it. All right, now this is Navain versus Rice Hat. We have Navain spawning here. We'll go ahead and shift tab into red. He's going to be our red Protoss up here at the 11 o'clock position. And Rice Hat, our blue Terran, over here in the 3 o'clock. Dominator 3-player map. One spawn up here, one spawn down here. And then the vacant spawn is going to be down here in the bottom left at about the 7 o'clock location. When we look at these main bases, there's some dead area here. Elevated natural with a choke that leads out into some elevated, kind of like what's kind of referred to as like pizza slices outside of the base. Oh, excuse me. And then the natural or easier to take third is a mineral only. So with that, let's go ahead and get on into it. And if you are stumbling across this cast on Twitch or YouTube, this is a part of a tournament series known as StarCraft Underground, where we do Brood War tournaments, we do StarCraft 2 tournaments of all MMRs and skill levels, and there's always a tournament to sign up for. So that's kind of one of the big pieces of it, is that there's always a tournament that you can sign up for, a bracket you can join. And whenever you are in a bracket, each of your matchups, you have a week to accomplish it. So, yeah, that's kind of the big thing. So if you're a busy person and you can't sit down on a Saturday or whatever the case may be with your league of choice and put in 3 to 4 hours in one shot, StarCraft Underground is a great alternative so you can get those games in. So it does look like Navain's going to be getting an early scout directly at where Rice Hat is located. He's going to be getting in here. He's going to be seeing that, you know, the barracks is being built in the base. There's not any type of proxy rack situation going on. He's going to see that everything looks very standard. Rice Hat's going to be sending his SCV. He's going to be scouting the 7 o'clock position first. So he's not going to be seeing Navain's base right off the bat. And we see Navain going Cybernetics Core after Gateway. So he's opting not to do like a double Gateway build or anything hyper aggressive here. Both players just opening up with pretty standard openings. We have a factory going down. I was actually just talking to Rice Hat before this. Tries to get that factory down at 16 supply when facing off against Protoss or Terran. Now the Cybernetics Core is complete, and we do have a Dragoon popping out right after this second Zealot. So the first Zealot's already on the way. There's one Marine here. Now the probe isn't taking any, isn't attacking the Marine to lower its health at all. So the Marine right now is just chasing the probe. And that's going to let the Zealot get in here and potentially knock out this SCV that's constructing this factory. We'll see where he ends up targeting, or if he just goes straight to the mineral line. He does start messing with this SCV, but instead opting to go straight for this Marine. One Marine does go down. Another one pops out. Now with this SimCity, the Marines are going to be able to bounce back and forth. Now the factory does complete. This SCV might go down. It does not. It survives, and the Marines are starting to dance back and forth through the SimCity, which is really tough for the Zealots to get any traction and you know, really kill them. Zealots being a little bit larger than Marines, the Marines can kind of get in between the supply depot and barracks where the Zealots camp. So we do have a Dragoon showing up with these 2 Zealots to try to contain Rice Hat for as long as possible. Rice Hat's SCV finally making it up here to the 11 o'clock position after scouting that Navain was not located at the 7. They get a couple hits here on the probe. Now we do have the Zealots and the Dragoon moving in, and this looks a little bad. Now one of these Zealots might go down. Good micro there by Navain, swapping out the healthy Zealot for the weakened one. And this Dragoon sniping off another Marine. That really just leaves 1 Marine on defense. Now this tank is being produced, but it's a long way out. It's only about 30% complete. Pulling some of the boys to come in here and help. I think if they get a surround here, they can kill this Zealot quickly, but this Dragoon might be able to kite back and knock out some of these SCVs. We do have a second Dragoon on the way. Now this tank can help turn the tide of the battle, but he needs to get rid of this Zealot. Great surround there on the Dragoon. The SCV's getting a citizen's arrest, and the tank is out. Okay, so I think with the tank out, I think Rice Hat holds this. He's going to kill that Zealot. This Dragoon being mega annoying up here on the high ground. He gets an SCV up there for some vision, and the tank's going to plug away along with this Marine. SCV's doing their part. Take out another Dragoon. Navain's continuing to rally this Dragoon into Rice Hat's base, but is going to back off. Not going to get anything really done with that one. Might kill this SCV that I think that was kind of just a pathing issue. But I think that's about all that this Dragoon's going to be able to get done. Now, behind all of this, Navain is getting a second. And he has another Dragoon out here as well. Now, Rice Hat, feeling the momentum kind of shift, does push his tank, Vulture, a couple Marines, SCVs, to shoo that Dragoon away, really making sure that the contain doesn't stick around. And he's actually turning this into a little bit of aggression. I don't know, every time I start casting, people start texting me. It's a thing. Alright. SCVs, Vultures, Tank, Marines, they're all kind of filing in one at a time. Does have the mines research though, and that's going to help a lot. Getting this mine here in this little gap is really, really powerful. It does get shot down before it's able to explode, but that gets a ton of damage here on this backup Dragoon. And now we've got a tank with no answer in the Protoss base. Now he needs to get SCVs on here to repair it. Does get the tank out of dodge just in time though. But these SCVs probably not best utilized to attack this. He is getting a bunker built though. Let's see if he can get that finished. And if he gets this Dragoon down, gets that bunker built, that might be lights out for Navain. Good. He does have another SCV here repairing the tank, getting his natural up behind this this push. And this was a really great kind of like reverse sweep in this matchup by Rice Hat. Ooh, good mines there. This Dragoon not going to last very long, especially if a tank can get up and get one shot off on it. Leapfrogging the bunkers forward. This is really dangerous for Navain. Now we do have a couple of units being rallied up from Rice Hat's base. A Marine and a Vulture, namely, and a second Vulture following behind. And Navain's trying to build up a little bit of a force here. He needs to get these probes up here to tank some of these shots, but he's going to end up mineral drilling them to get them through. And I think this is a little bit of a last-ditch effort. Yeah, the probes, they're not going to be able to do anything against this tank. The bunker's being repaired. He's just losing so many probes right now. And that's going to be the GG. So that's game number 1. This is a best-of-3 series. Let's go ahead and check out game number 2. That was really exciting. Right from the get-go, just pure fireworks. Alright, so this next match is going to be on Deja Vu. Deja Vu, a 4-player map. Nice large base where you can build up next to your ramp for production. They have these annoying eggs on the ramp, which usually get knocked out, you know, as game kind of transitions from the early to the mid game. just because they're such a pain in the butt, especially for our Protoss player. Dragoons don't like these, tanks don't like them. They really kind of screw with the AI pathing. Natural, small choke, and then the natural third is a little bit tough. Big ramps that can go down into it, kind of a high ground adjacent. And then a middle ground with kind of this elevated donut that goes around the middle. Now these portions right here, kind of outside each player's base, tends to be where players try to set up their contains and where you know, they're kind of key terrain, so to speak. All right, so that's that. Let's go ahead and check in on what our players are doing. Nevain's getting his pylon down towards the ramp to his base. Supply depot. All good, all standard. Not seeing any workers run out onto the map for some early shenanigans. Probe is going to be heading down. And looks like Nevain's set up to get... Well, actually, I don't know where he's going. He might be doing a cross spawn check first. And it looks like that's what he's attempting to do. So Nevain going cross spawn scout. Rice hat. Not sure exactly where this SCV is going just yet. But I'd imagine also over here to the left. This bottom left location. Barracks is complete. Marine being built. We've got Zealot on the way. Cybernetics core as well. Now Rice Hat's going to get up into this bottom left base. See that Protoss is not there. And Nevain's going to have a good read on where Rice Hat is. Factory is being constructed for Rice Hat. And these two Marines are going to knock that probe down real fast. Now the Zealot is on its way. The SimCity is... We saw this very similar, just kind of like cluster in the last game, but it's much more farther away towards kind of the mineral line. So if the Zealot can get up here on these Marines, it'll probably kill at least one, but you can see that he's running the Marines back over here towards these buildings where he can run back and forth, but the Zealot can get through this one, this gap. So great micro by Rice Hat as he's trying to keep kind of the two Marines spread far apart, one just running around, the one that the Zealot's targeting. This Marine is really low on health, but you know, he's doing a good job of knocking this this Zealot down. He does park that Marine in the middle of this buildings where a Zealot can't really reach it. Gonna try to chase this down with an SCV. Oh, nice job. Rice Hat does get the Zealot. There's a second one outside the base and a Dragoon on the way. Very similar kind of early game pressure that we saw last game. Gets one of the Marines. Dragoon is coming up. Does end up having to cancel the command center here at the natural, which is a little frustrating. He's going to lose an SCV. But he's buying a little bit of time of keeping that Zealot down here in the natural while he gets a few SCVs up here along with the Vulture to try to shoo this Dragoon away or even get the kill. But Vultures just do so little damage to a Dragoon once the shields are down. He really needs these Marines to get up there. Now the tank is on the way. He's got the SCVs blocking the high ground. He has kind of like a vision advantage here. So on the Dominator, what we saw is like the main base was like what is it, depressed from the elevation. So he couldn't like shoot down, or he could shoot down, but in this situation, it's much more difficult to shoot up into the main. Really timely SCV repair on that Vulture. It was about to die. And I think he probably still could have killed it if he had just seen how low it was. Again, one more volley would have knocked that out. And Rice Hat's going to hold this. He's going to send the early pressure away. Some of his units really beat up, but overall the micro doing a really good job of maintaining what he had. Once that tank was out, it was kind of a given conclusion that these beat up Dragoons needed to push back. Now Devane is getting his second base at the natural established. And I imagine we'll probably see the command center go down here for Rice Hat as well. Yep, there it is. So this is kind of that elevated staging area I was talking about before the match started. That's just kind of the flow of the game on this map. This seems to be kind of where armies stage and try to contain from. Alright, the Protoss is pushing in. Has 4 Dragoons and a Zealot. The Zealot's going to go down really quickly, but it tanked a lot of damage, and that allowed the Dragoons to snipe one tank. Knocks the second tank to below half health. And these SCVs, the real MVPs. Oh, he does dodge that mine. It poked up for a second there. And Rice Hat's just getting a few more mines down here, which will really help with delaying any additional advances from these Dragoons. Repairing up his tank and pushing to get this natural established. Nothing else really going on in the main. Just supply depot construction. No second factory at this time. Another gateway does go down, and we also have the observatory going down. So the observers are going to really help with identifying these mines, protecting the Protoss force as it moves forward. And Rice Hat is opting to get a bunker here in conjunction with the mines and these tanks, which no siege mode as of yet. He just started siege mode. This should still be really effective at keeping this at bay. Third base for Nevane. And we're seeing Rice Hat kind of poke out. See what's out here. Maybe drop a couple more mines with the fresh Vulture. The old one dies, but it barely had any health remaining. Got 2 Marines in the bunker, 2 tanks out here. He's trying to kind of trigger the Dragoons to be drawn in, but their position's being held. One more shot would have done that one in. 3 more Dragoons on the way. And this is where we're at a point where I wouldn't be surprised if Nevane tried to push in and try to snipe a tank or two. Rice Hat pushes out just a little bit just to see where the Dragoons are, is seeing that they are no longer hanging out here. Since this Vulture to get confirmation, this Vulture is going to get shot down, but he is going to see that you know, the Dragoon count is increasing, and they're all staged up there on the high ground waiting for him to move out. We have an armory being constructed as well as an engineering bay. Rice Hat building that engineering bay to make sure that he can defend any type of Reaver drops or Dark Templar. He hasn't really had an opportunity to go check out what's going on in Nevane's base. Doesn't have any comsats as of yet. And Nevane is just saturating the field with Dragoons. Okay, so Rice Hat turtling up a little bit. Getting his economy in order. Nevane's third base, we haven't seen a probe transfer yet or anything along those lines. But it is up and healthy. We have the probe transfer going on now. And Nevane is parking Dragoons at all these potential third bases. In the event that Rice Hat constructs a third CC and tries to float one over, the Dragoon will be there to receive it. Four gateways for Nevane. 2 factories with machine shops for Rice Hat. Got +1 weapons underway as well. And this observer's poking around, getting the full lay of the land. Now, if he gets too close over here, this turret, well, yeah, I mean, these turrets are going to start firing at it. Yep, that's going to be a dead observer. But he has another one with the army. And we've seen this before with Nevane. Nevane likes to produce a lot of observers, whether it's PvP or PvT. He likes to ensure that he's not being surprised and that he has good map vision. And you can see that as well with how he's operating with his Dragoons. He's just very all over the map. Rice Hat trying to extend his vision a little bit. These are primarily for the tanks to ensure that they're maximizing their range and seeing anything that's coming through the front door. And he's got a good turret ring set up. Now, we don't see any indication that Navain's going to go for any type of drop play. Now, he has seen the Observer, so he knows that the robotics facility is up and out there. But he also knows that he went Observer first. Zell legs are being researched along with Templar archives. We've seen this from Navain as well in the previous cast. He tends to prefer kind of like High Templar use and Archon use. Which I don't blame him, because Storm is disgusting. Got Goliath range being researched, more tanks being produced, kind of a factory explosion here, going up to 6 factories. And vehicle weapons number 1, or +1, is just now about to be completed. And so this might be the power spike that Rice Hat needs to try to push out onto the map. But he's been pretty comfortable hanging out, getting his production established, getting his natural established. Navain has placed cannons in his mineral lines just to prevent any drops or really, you know, like vulture run-bys. Arbiter Tribunal being built. I hear fighting. I don't see fighting. Got it. He's shooting the eggs. I love these Dragoons. Just scouring the map, keeping an eye on things. Really a low-cost way to just make sure that there's no crazy, sneaky shenanigans going on. They'll trigger mines if there's mines laid there. They'll see dropships if there's anything weird going around the edges. Good solid play. So right now it does look like Rice Hat is consolidating his force, and we'll probably be seeing a push out. This is going to be a pretty big engagement if he pushes out right now. So he's going to get a scan. He's going to see this Dragoon and probably maybe 1 or 2 of those. And it looks like Navain's going to have a really good concave here to pick off a lot of these vultures. But the siege does go down. And he's going to lose just a couple of Dragoons. So Rice Hat's probably going to try to, you know, establish some sort of defense or tank line up here on the high ground. And likely shoot for this as his 3rd base. Now we do have Stasis Field being researched once he gets this Arbiter built. That's going to be the anti-siege tank kind of push mechanic that Navain's going to exercise. And his Storm is almost complete as well. Now, as we saw, he's got an F-ton of Dragoons, and he is just making a ton of Zealots as well. And this is going to be really effective at getting in the face, knocking out those vultures, getting up close and personal with the tanks. So, like, if they siege, like, these tanks are going to just get obliterated right here. So many Zealots. This rear line of tanks just being a little bit late. And I think Navain's going to clean this army up real fast. We do have a shuttle. Does look like it has a High Templar and some Zealots for a nice bombing in. And that was a huge engage for Navain. Right now we see the supply down less than half for Rice Hat. So really tough position for Rice Hat. Rice Hat is going to get confirmation of the Arbiter being on the field. He also saw the High Templar. So now he's got to be concerned about recalls. He's got to be concerned about this large force just pushing his front door. He's got to be concerned about storm drops. He saw shuttle tech as well. Recall being researched now. So even though it's something he needs to consider, he didn't see the stasis go down. I don't think we saw stasis. So he needs to be prepared for it nonetheless. He is getting more mines spread out here, which is helpful. Mines will help with hitting any units that are cloaked underneath the Arbiter. And just any push in general. He's trying to secure a foothold right here at the transition from the high to low ground. Does sneak a bunch of vultures away. So he's going to see this force. Placing a lot of mines here on the left side. Unfortunately, he doesn't have vision right here. I think if he were to drop a scan, he would be able to see these and the siege tanks can start opening fire. Okay, so here comes the engage. The Arbiter is moving in, but nothing's following it. So all these units lost their cloak. The mines are doing good work. The vultures are forcing the army to kind of stay up here as opposed to close the distance with the siege tanks. So that was pretty good engagement so far for Rice Hat. Lost a lot of vultures, but overall, his supply is slowly climbing from where it was. But he has got a long way to go. Still less than half the supply of Navain. Navain is getting a 4th base, fully saturated, where Rice Hat is still sitting on 2. Has to rebuild his barracks that he lost so he could build more factories. And he's getting that science facility down so he can start going up into +2, +2. +1 armor on the way. Not to mention he'll likely probably want to get Science Vessel or 2. Try to EMP any Arbiters that he identifies, either trying to come in for a recall or approaching his tank line with stasis. So many Zealots. And now we're seeing a Navain that is maxed out. So he's starting to bank a lot of resources. He's got quite the production, just like factory of gateways sitting here. A couple of Dragoons poke in. They're not going to do a whole lot. Just get smashed by these tanks. Ooh. Mine accidentally takes out one of his own vultures. But overall, this is looking like a really efficient kind of just line for Rice Hat. Navain setting up his shuttle to drop onto the siege tanks, but Rice Hat has constructed a series of turrets with his tank line, and he's gonna be trying to get this 3rd base up and running. Now, he's only sending vultures up here. He's going to set a bunch of mines, but the observer saw that this was happening, so I wouldn't be shocked to see Navain kind of do a larger committed push just to make sure that this doesn't happen. Ooh, good mines right there, killing a few Dragoons. And it doesn't look like he's over-committing units over here either, but he is flying a couple Arbiters. Needs to be careful, might end up losing one. And he's just got a handful of Dragoons over here, which are doing a lot of work, killing a lot of vultures, really doing a good job of delaying this 3rd base being set up. And Rice Hat's bringing a lot of forces over. Good mine hit there on the Zealots, but the Zealots are going to clean up these vultures over here on the left side. Okay, now here comes that committed push. Now, not the greatest area to attack in for the Protoss into all these siege tanks, but with this many Zealots, that is just so many, and a great stasis as well from the Arbiter is going to basically cut the firepower in half. And these Zealots are just getting in the face of these tanks and doing so much damage. Not much left with regard to defense here for Rice Hat. And you can just see the production. 12 Dragoons coming out at a time. Zealots are going to come back. They're going to get ready to hit these once the stasis goes away. I want to see if this Zealot gets it. He does. Oh my gosh. Zealots are just so annoying. Alright, so the stasis wears off. The man's going to clean up this last little bit and effectively deny that 3rd base from going down. Vultures are going out onto the field. I think Rice Hat's trying to get an understanding of how far behind is he at this point. So he's checking some of these expansions, seeing where there may be a vulnerability where you can try to get back in this game by striking Navain. But he hasn't stumbled up here towards the left corner yet, or the upper left corner. All right. Going for this third base again. But there's not a whole lot here. Just a couple tanks near this bridge and a couple vultures doing what they can against these zealots. But the amount of dragoons, they're just going to walk in and likely just knock out this command center. Even if they don't even target this army, they're going to be able to just come in here and kill this. And that's what we're seeing. 2 tanks go down. This command center is going to go down. Rice Hat feels the pressure, tosses in the towel. That's game 2. So we're 1-1 for both of these players. Let's go into game number 3. And this is a lower bracket round 3 as well. So the loser of this match, this final match in this best of 3, will be eliminated from this bracket, and the winner will move on. Next match is going to be Polypoid. Okay. Good series so far. So, Navain, down here in the bottom left. Rice Hat, up in the top left. Another 4-player map. Polypoid, probably one of the most standard maps in the pool. No eggs on the ramp here, no eggs in the choke. Just a easily securable, natural, good amount of space in the main base for all your buildings and junk. And then it does have kind of like the easier third being a mineral only out here, kind of like that triangle third concept. Both players do have access to kind of an elevated third option as well. That is defendable by 2 ramps. And yeah, that's pretty much the gist of Polypoid. So what have we seen so far? We saw in the first game, early pressure from Navain. That was deflected really well by Rice Hat. Rice Hat took the advantage with a couple of tanks that he had built and just pushed across the map, pulling a bunch of boys with him. And that was enough to shut Navain down with that counter punch. Second map went a little bit longer, and what we saw was Navain with kind of the same early pressure, but it was much more effective. Did a lot more damage to the Marines. Was able to really fight off the vultures in the first tank pretty well. He was repelled, but then he was able to contain Rice Hat effectively and then get his production and his economy just to a point where it was out of control. And effectively just overwhelmed once he got up to Arbiter Tech. We've yet to see any super hyper aggressive cheeses or anything from either of these players. And it doesn't look like we'll see it this game either. Looks like kind of the same general opening here as well. Single gateway into Cybernetics Core. Rice Hat's getting the initial scout. Now, Navain's been doing this cross scout. I don't know if that's typical. I don't see a lot of players do that. And it's mostly because it just takes so long to get to the third location, right? So like if you do cross scout and then send your probe this way, I guess if you send your zealot the other direction, it would narrow it down. But it seems like he sends across and then just doubles down with his zealot and probe towards one location, and he just so happens in this series to always be right on the second on the second attempt. Factory going down. Same old, same old. Probe does survive. The SCV is still bebopping around as well. And we got 2 zealots heading up while the Dragoon is being produced. Dragoon range also being researched at this time. SCV is doing a really good block here. The zealot might kill an SCV. Looks like the other one was trying to repair. That was good micro there by Rice Hat. And that zealot's going to be forced back. So it does get up to a 3rd Marine. Navain leading with the healthy zealot. Still has the probe. And I think one of the biggest takeaways here that I've seen from this series is just the difference of attacking into the main base on Dominator, where the main base you go down into, versus these other bases that you go up into the main. I don't think it was clear to me how drastic of a difference that is when it comes to vision and having like range. Like this Dragoon, in range, but he needs to have the vision up here to actually shoot back. Yeah, 4 Marines and a Vulture is going to be able to push this away, no problem. Especially that Zealot almost dead, and this Dragoon taking hull damage. It does look like also that Rice Hat is trying to delay the natural with an eBay block. And he's going to be throwing down a bunker here in his choke to his natural. Couple more Dragoons heading over to help with the early game pressure. Rice Hat's expansion just now started. And Nevain's still waiting to get his up and running after that eBay block. So, effective delay there by Rice Hat. Bunker's complete. He's going to get these 4 Marines in here, but also Dragoon range is complete as well. So he's going to be able to pelt this from a distance. There's not enough SCVs here yet to keep this alive. You generally need 1 SCV per Dragoon shooting at a building to out-repair the damage. So this bunker is going to be destroyed. He's going to lose a couple Marines. Loses 1 right after the destruction. Loses another 1. Oh gosh, here we go. SCV's going down that were here to repair the bunker. He is going to snipe the one building the command center. Now he's got a tank out though. And that is the answer to this. But he needs to get it in range, and there's 4 Dragoons. This is not like just a small thing. He's going to need a little bit more than just 1 tank. So the Dragoons are opting to kind of angle over here in the natural base, start taking out this natural command center. Does get canceled, but definitely setting Rice Hat back. So this looks a lot more like the second game, but what I do like is that Rice Hat was able to delay the expansion for Nevain. So it feels a little bit better off than it did in game number 2. Now Rice Hat is opting, he knows he needs to get that command center constructed. He's going to be doing it on the high ground. So as he's powering up, getting a couple more tanks, then he'll be able to push once this is complete, get Nevain away from his natural, and be able to lift this off and drop it and catch up. Now, as far as upgrades, right, he's going for Vulture Speed right now instead of Siege. And I feel like if he had Siege, he could be pushing this away a little bit earlier. But I'm not entirely sure if which one's right in this moment. He's got 3 tanks. There's only 4 Dragoons sitting outside his base. I feel like at this time he definitely could push them away. But there's also no rush, right? Like he doesn't need to push them away until he's ready to get this down. So it's almost complete. He's going to move forward. SCVs are going to tank a few of these Dragoon shots. And these tanks are going to end up pushing these guys away. Yeah, he's going to pick off 1 Dragoon. CC is complete. It's going to be lifting off and heading over here. Robotics facility is complete. Observatory is completing behind that. Nevain likely to get a bunch of observers out to start protecting himself against mines. And Rice Hat being a little bit aggressive. So this almost is a little bit reminiscent of game 1, but the biggest difference being that Nevain just hasn't lost as much as he did during game 1. Nevain is a lot more secure and able to defend. I like how these Vultures are just like in the formation. It's like they're pretending to be Dragoons. It's like, don't look at us, we're fine. These mines aren't going to do anything. They got shot down by the Dragoons. And Rice Hat is continuing his push with these 3 tanks. Now 2 of them have taken a few shots already. So not the most powerful force right here, and the Dragoons are being reinforced as we're getting closer to Nevain's base. And one of these tanks is going to go down quickly, one of the Vultures as well. Now, Rice Hat's going to be trying to drop some of these mines, but they are getting shot, detonated before they're able to do anything. And he probably needs to repair these tanks if he wants to keep pushing, but I don't think he needs to go any farther. He's getting his natural up, he's getting it saturated, he has his second factory, and he's getting siege mode now. But I think Siege Mode is going to be the next power spike that he needs if he wants to try to gain the initiative and start containing Navane into his natural. Now, Navane is starting his third up here on that elevated base. It's going to give him access to another gas. He's going to be up on 3 gases. And wisely, Rice Hat is actually sending some vultures over here to check. So he's going to kill the probe. He's going to be annoying over here. The Nexus already completes, so no cancel. So he can likely end up at getting the kill. And Navane's going to be following behind. I think Navane's going to be able to clean this up. Siege mode's still not done. It might finish while this is still alive. There are only 2 pylons here, but I think that's still enough to block the tank from getting through. But the SCVs at least are going to run away. So he's aware of the base, but he's not really able to do much against the base. A couple mines here, a couple mines there. So no units out on the field right now for Rice Hat. Rice Hat opting to take a third of his own behind this. And he's really got like no army. He's got a tank and a vulture. These mines are going to slow down Navane maybe just for a second. He's got an observer. But they're at least going to provide early warning. Right? So like right now, Navane knows, okay, I need some additional defense. And he's gonna also bolster his defenses with some Marines. He's getting a bunker down here at the natural. And I think he's playing this third base in a way where it's kind of just like, don't look over here, please. Because he really doesn't have enough to defend it if it were to be pushed. But he definitely doesn't want to be stuck like last game where he was really limited to 2 bases for the entirety of it. Getting a third factory. Armory is going down as well. He's going to start being able to upgrade his mech. And here comes a large push from Navane. Just a whole grip of Dragoons. He's got an observer with him. Protect against these mines. Rice Hat's checking around, making sure that there's not a 4th base that he's unaware of. He'll probably drop a mine over here and then run away. Yep, same up here. And then now we've got the Dragoons moving forward. So they kill the mine that was sitting here for early warning up on the elevated mineral-only base. Rice Hat's going to be moving his barracks down to help provide a wall. He's got siege tanks up on the high ground, which is good. Siege tank here, only 1 Marine in this bunker. Now, Navane doesn't know that, and I don't know how scared he is of it, but it's going to at least cause him a bit of a delay while he has to shoot it down. He's got a couple tanks here. A lot of Dragoons are going down to this. This high ground being very valuable for Rice Hat's defense. And again, I think this third base is kind of just, don't come over here, bro. The observer's parked over the factories. I think Navane has a very good read right now on what Rice Hat has. Ooh, and here comes a shuttle. So he's probably going to drop these zealots just right on top of these tanks. They're going to soak up a lot of the shots. They're going to take them down, and these Dragoons are just going to walk in the front door. Yep, these zealots are going to kill 1 tank. This zealot's right on top of this one. Now it's still getting shots off on these Dragoons as well as this one in the back. Some Goliaths are popping out. That'll limit future drops, but right now he's got to deal with these Dragoons, and he's been overwhelmed. So Rice Hat recognizes it. He goes down. Navane will win this series 2-1, and will continue in the lower bracket. GG's. All right. We've got another Brood War series in the same tournament to go through, and then a single StarCraft 2 match. Let's go ahead and create game. Ba-ba-ba. Beep-boop-boo. Okay, so this one is going to be the semifinals. So we were just in the lower bracket for round 3 of this for this tournament. Now let's go and take a look at the winners bracket. We're gonna have Dominator, and I forget who the participants are. So we'll see when we join in. I think it's Wish and Genesis. Correct. So Wish, the red Protoss at the 3 o'clock position. Genesis, the blue Terran at the 7 o'clock. Dude, Protoss so OP, Tonzi. You get it. And I've already kind of talked Dominator to death, but what I do want to point out like I hadn't realized it. Like it makes sense. It's very intuitive. Don't know what I just clicked. But in that game one between Nivane and Rice Hat, Nivane's Dragoons that were chilling up here, like the ability to attack in, and then later when Rice Hat fought back with his tanks, the ability to have the vision down into the main just makes assaulting the main base so much more effective. Which is really obvious, but I think the last series was a really good case study of just how effective it is, especially with those low unit count engagements, the one Dragoon, the one tank, facing up against, you know, the two Zealots. Makes it really big, it really changes the math. Alright, Wish is going to be heading up towards the 11 o'clock position. Also getting another TVP, so we'll be able to compare and contrast these two players to Nivane and Rice Hat's playstyles. See if they do anything different, or if they both kind of do the same standard stuff. Interesting barracks placement, only in the sense that he's not going to be able to get a ComSat down there, but I think that's under the intention that the barracks is going to get up and float away, so not really a big deal. The academy will be later down the road anyway, so basically that's just an indicator of he has no intention of building a lot of bio or doing a heavy bio mech mix. And if he is, then at some point he'll need to lift it and move it. So Genesis is going to be able to, or he's going to be correct on his initial scout. This looks like a misclick, actually, unless there's a proxy that he's going to do. I think he just clicked a little bit too much to the right there when he was rallying and kind of missed the main base. That's something as a, you know, transitioning from StarCraft 2 to Brood War that is really a big shock when you show up in the game, is the fact that the minimap is completely black. Like you really, like, map knowledge is so much more important in Brood War than StarCraft 2. Because StarCraft 2, at least you see the outline of everything. You can see the whole map, you just don't know where the bad guys are. Brood War, you don't know where anything is. It's a blank canvas. Cybernetics core going down, so very similar, you know, 4 buildings for our Protoss player that Nivane was doing. We're going to see this factory. It does look like he's intending to go into a factory expand. He only has 1 SCV on the gas. Two Marines hanging out at the choke of the natural. And this SCV is going to get chased around by a Zealot here for a little bit. So Dragoon range is being upgraded. And opting to go straight into the machine shop before building any vultures. So this tells me he's probably going to go straight into tanks, if I were to guess. Got a second factory as well. Either straight into tanks, or he's going to, you know, start both vulture upgrades. So like he'll make this machine shop, start mines, get the vulture building, and then the second factory will go straight to machine shop and get the speed. Nope, he is going straight to tank. So my initial hunch was correct, and he is getting mine upgrades though as well. So he's continuing to pump out Marines, which is very important since he is going tank first. So he needs a little bit of an additional bolster to his defenses here, knowing that it takes a little while for that tank to get out. But I also like that he's rushing to that tank. You know, against Rice Hat and Nivane in the last series, that was always, it's really the turning point, right? When you're facing early Protoss pressure is when you can get that tank out. So rushing to it, getting a tank out is really powerful with getting these Dragoons out of the way. And so earlier when I thought Genesis was saving up minerals and prioritizing minerals for an expansion, he was really just prioritizing it to make sure he was able to get these Marines out while having enough funds to get that second factory. Alright, so he does have a move out. Handful of Marines, Vulture, tank. Now, mines have been researched. and he is continuing to just send the vultures across. So he's got this little skirmish right here. The tank will do just fine against these. And he is pushing straight in, making sure that he gets mines, cut off reinforcements, allow himself to have a foothold when his tank and other units show up here. This is looking like a powerful push. He's got some SCVs coming up as well. These will help with repairing potential bunkers if he wants to keep making Marines. These mines are killing all of the Dragoons. Genesis is in a good spot. He needs to get these units up and engaging, but he's definitely probably macroing back home. And the push continues. So now he's on the probe line. This was a good forge placement by Wish. It's going to force Genesis to walk around. Now he's continuing to push the main base probe line with just a handful of SCVs and a Marine. This is going to get cleaned up pretty quick with the Dragoons that are popping out. But he's got a lot here in the natural. He's got a lot here. Robotics support bay. I'm wondering if I don't know if making a Reaver at this point would really be the right answer. He does have this shield battery though. Ooh, but these mines! So well placed, making sure that they're over here on the other side between the ramp and the wall. This Dragoon is just one vulture shot away from lights out. SCV is getting a bunker constructed. There are a couple Marines here that he can put into it, but the SCV gets shot down. And that shield battery really coming in clutch there, saving that Dragoon. A few healthy Dragoons are coming up to join the fray. Siege mode has been researched, and now the tank is cooking. And Wish is supply blocked. He's lost, that Nexus. He's about to lose this pylon. He's losing his entire natural. It's more mines than open space. I'm curious what he can do to really come back from this. Now, keep in mind, the worker count is still pretty close, right? This is a very aggressive build from Genesis. Genesis only just now putting down his natural. So right now, I don't think Wish is out of it, but this is a lot in the way. And all he's got is a few Dragoons. And what we were talking about earlier, the main base being on the low ground is just really painful when trying to fight out of it. Especially with a siege tank back here, bunker in front, whole landmine field. Yeah, gotta be careful about giving these away. Now there is a Reaver on the field now. If he can keep this Reaver alive and lob a bunch of, get some good scarabs in on these vultures, this Observer will be out very shortly, or these Zealots that he's producing. He can eat a lot of these mines. Maybe even drag them into the tank. So he's eating the mines with Dragoons instead right now. Maybe unaware of how many there really are. But he knows, Wish knows that he just... Oh, huge mine drag. That was absolutely gigantic. All the vultures dying. And you can see here, right? That Zealot pulling those mines. That Dragoon needs to come up here and snipe the tank. It does. Okay, so it's just a bunker with 2 Marines. The Observer's out. He sees the mines. And this Reaver's going to be able to clean this up. We may have a game. Again, the worker count isn't crazy different. Genesis is getting this second base up, but it's not really up and running yet. Now, Wish needs to get more army. A Reaver alone isn't going to satisfy a full defense here when there is just a bunch of vultures speeding across the map. Definitely don't want to overextend with this. He does have a few Zealots out here, though. That will help. But you got to be careful with this Reaver. Ooh, nice pick there on the vulture. Gets the mine and the Marine. Very cool. Okay. All right. Wish knows what he's doing. He's getting a second Reaver up here as well. But these siege tanks, they're going to knock this out. All right. So he gets another Scarab off on this siege tank. The Zealots are running up here. This is actually a pretty good defense. I mean, I still think Wish is really in a tough spot, but I think there's a lot of players out there that might have GG'd early. And he's making something happen out of this. Now, these tanks are going to be a pretty big problem, though. He's going to get another Scarab off. He's going to kill a tank. Loses the Reaver. There's nothing left. There's nothing. Absolutely no army. I don't think Genesis is aware of that, though. That he could just aim move in. Here we go. Okay, so 3 Dragoons. We've got a new army for Wish now. Ooh, and the tanks are in range over here. Okay, now Genesis is starting to pick up speed. He's got this up and running. He's getting his comm stats down. He's going to be able to peek into the Protoss base, see what he's actually up against. He's going to be able to use those to extend the range of his siege tanks as well. Look over here. I don't know. It seems a little bit long for range, but this is a tough position to hold. But I love it. I love Wish is just powering through. He's like, get up there, probes. Do what you're supposed to do. And these 3 Dragoons are holding it down. Oh, no. Was there a scan? There must have been. All right, Dragoons are moving up. Probably going to take off 1 tank. Another one on the way. He's going to get the second as well. The Reaver's here. He's going to be able to lob Scarabs into these Vultures and Marines. Knock them out real fast. But overall, like, this stalemate is getting more and more in favor of Wish. Which is exciting after that initial push. Is getting a shuttle out and also Templar Archives. Might see a transition here into High Templars. Okay, Vulture's moving. Oh, weird Scarab there. He's going to kill the mine. Does damage the Vulture. Trying to make sure this Reaver is far forward as it can be without being sniped. So the Marines here, they're going to be a pain in the butt for this shuttle, but the shuttle is, ooh, not a great spot. Both the siege tanks able to unload onto that Reaver. It is hurting. Now, there's not much for turrets. I guess there's a few by the minerals. So if the shuttle drops kind of back here, then it'll be able to get in no problem. Don't want to overextend too much, but there's plenty of space to work with. Reaver down here. We'll see if it gets any Scarab shots. Right here, the Vultures are trying to push in. We'll try to keep an eye on both. Reaver's kind of just snailing around. Funky Scarab there. Gets a hit off on the tank. And, oh my gosh, the tank is like dancing. Oh, I think it's kind of stuck behind this, this turret. Up here, though, Minefield and tank inching forward. Okay, so not High Templars, but Dark Templars is what Wish was going for. Almost got the mine drag there. Oh, good. Kills 2. Oh, wow. Okay, that was a very effective Dark Templar. Using the mines, using the siege mode against Genesis is proving very successful. Now, I don't know if the SCVs just ran off to the natural, but not a whole lot of SCVs here. I didn't see it. I think they did just run off to the natural. Doesn't look too hurt, but the Reaver was knocked out. But the push continues here on the front line for Genesis. Building a turret up here as well. Within siege mode of the Nexus. Going to start knocking probes down. And really all that's remaining are these Dark Templar. But now that the turrets are being made, they're just going to get gunned down. And not only that, but like the mines, right? Like the mines don't need detection to hit anything. And that was a lot of money. That was a lot of Dark Templars for not a very large payoff. So these siege tanks are going to be able to just go ham on this natural. Mines are going to block off any reinforcements to include Dark Templar. I think this might be lights out for Wish. But a very different game than what we saw in the last series, which is really refreshing. Another TVP, but we're seeing Dark Templar on the field. We saw a very aggressive push, kind of a one base. Not necessarily all in, but very aggressive opening. DT drop. Wish showing a lot of perseverance here. And the tank count is just getting massive, though. And that's it. Okay, so Wish is going to throw in the towel. That puts Genesis up 1-0 in this series. Let's check out game 2. I like TVP as a matchup to watch as well. I think my favorite matchup is definitely like TVZ. I think that's just a lot of fun. But TVP is fun to watch. I don't like playing it. I feel like playing against Protoss as a Terran is it's hard. It's very hard. Okay. Deja Vu. Deja Vu is the one with the donut in the middle, right? You got this giant donut ring. As far as spawns, it is a 4-player map. We've got Wish, the red Protoss down here in the bottom left. We've got Genesis, our blue Terran in the top left. Last game we saw a very standard kind of early Protoss pressure from Wish in the form of, you know, like 2 Zealots, Probe, a Dragoon. But then we saw Genesis kind of saving up money. We thought he was going to expand, but he ended up throwing down second factory early and non-stop non-stop marine production. And so he did an initial push with, I think it was like a tank, 4 Marines, and a Vulture, and like, I think maybe 2 SCVs. And it was wildly successful. That push really set the tone for the game, and he never left the front door of Wish's natural for the whole time. And that kind of just cascaded throughout. Wish put up a really good defense, though. We saw a Dark Templar tech, we saw Reavers. Really pulling out all the tricks available to him to stay in the game. So that was exciting to see. So initial scout going off. Wish is going to know that Genesis is not over here. Barracks being built. Same kind of structured, same kind of Sim City that he did on Dominator as well. Looks like Genesis might be scouting off to the upper right. Nope, I'm wrong. Hang down to the top, or bottom left. Is he going cross? What's he doing? Already has barracks up. He is adding SCVs to gas. I guess he's just doing the cross spawn scout. I need to learn when and why you do this. We saw in the last series as well. Navain was cross spawn scouting. I think every game, with the exception of Dominator. I haven't seen it from a Terran though. So wondering what he's looking for. Maybe cross spawn Nexus first, kind of, you know, anti-Protoss shenanigans. Maybe there's a decision point there in his build. So factories being put down. We see it back to 1 SCV on gas. And this is what indicated to me that he was going to try to expand, like prioritizing the minerals. But what we ended up seeing was just non-stop marine production. Marines are heading down to the natural. He's completely comfortable with the SCV just doing the chase. Pylon? Okay. That pylon, I think, actually has blocked one of these SCVs in there. This is hilarious. We'll see if he cancels it or if it actually dies to all these SCVs. At a minimum, the lost mining time was insane there. That was like 5 SCVs of lost mining time. So a little bit of a great disruption there by Wish. Excuse me. Alright, 3 Marines are out. SCV is going to get confirmation on where Wish is. Continued SCV production to at least 4 at this time. But I think Genesis is actually just going to expand now. Yeah, so a little bit different than last game. The Dragoon is going to deny the SCV scout. Nice body blocking. Look at that. The old Dragoon 2-step with the SCV. Mine's being upgraded, going into Vulture as opposed to rushing to a tank first. So, definitely a variation. We do have an eBay. I wonder if this is primarily for turret construction, or if he plans on kind of increasing his marine count. He used a lot of Marines last game, but I think that was in conjunction with kind of the early push. In fact, he wanted to get those bunkers up. So the Natural's being constructed, but none of the army is down here. So there's going to be 3 Dragoons. They're going to kill this SCV. That's going to delay this, and unfortunately, it was at the point where he started his SCV transfer as well. We'll see if the Dragoons start targeting these SCVs. No, but the SCVs are going to come up for some citizen's arrest. They're going to kill one of these Dragoons. Oh, maybe not! Oh no! The Marines are targeting the healthy one now, getting a lot of extra shots off. Come on, someone shoot this one. Oh wow, this is really good micro from Wish. Wish is making a lot out of nothing here. Alright, now both Dragoons almost dead. The original hurt one, now the one with more shields. And he's getting a good amount of SCV kills here. That was very disruptive. He did see the mine go down, so that was lucky on his part. He's able to knock these mines out. One mine, more than enough to kill these Dragoons. Whoa. Is he going to inch closer? Alright, these vultures. Oh my gosh, just push them! Wow. 5 kills. 8 kills. Those Dragoons are owed medals. But the Natural did eventually go up for Genesis. He is a little bit behind on the SCVs, but overall did recover. Opting to go for an earlier 3rd base. So, still sitting on 1 factory, 1 barracks. Continuous vulture production. A lot of Dragoons starting to build up. There's 4 out here. Now 2 of them, you know, combined have like 6 whole. 6 whole health. Which matters, right? Because they can have a good amount of shields, but vultures will tear through the shields. They do full damage on the shields, but the whole... they hardly do anything, but they're well within range of a vulture knocking them out. So 2 Dragoons do go down from a mine. So the mine's doing great work on the defense. And Wish getting his 3rd base started. Observer production is starting. Try to prevent more of these mine nonsense. 3 gateways. Now this eBay has been down, but we haven't seen any turrets or anything. No upgrades coming from it. Second factory being built. Now we got siege mode underway and our first tank on the field. And Wish is going to try to push through these mines. The Observer's helping out drastically here. This tank needs to get in the fight. Tank did come out. SCVs are being pulled. He's going to lose a lot more SCVs again. The SCVs getting good surrounds, though. Are helping a lot with the damage output. But when it's just 1 Marine and SCVs, the SCVs do need to retreat. Now, the tank's going to get into the fight. A lot of these Dragoons are all wounded. So if he can target down some of these weak ones, this tank could do a lot of damage. But he needs to be careful. If they get a jump on it, this tank can get sniped. The second one is in production. Oh, here we go. Oh, it's getting kind of close. Yeah, a couple of these Dragoons just require 1 shot. Now, this siege mode's going to help. It's going to start just knocking these down. It could probably kill both of those, yep. So now there's 1 Dragoon left with hardly any health at all. So he's going to clean this up, no problem. But he's been losing a lot of mining time. He's been losing a good amount of SCVs. Genesis is a little bit on the back foot this round. So tank, vulture production, underway, non-stop. We're starting to see turrets. I think there's a concern, right? We're definitely well within drop timelines. But Wish is just pumping out the Dragoons. He's getting Zealot legs as well. So we'll see the good old-fashioned Zealot mix in here. Now the tanks are out on the field. Genesis is going to use this eBay for some vision, get some tanks on the high ground here. This makes this choke very difficult to push into, and that's why we see on Deja Vu kind of the staging area ending up being up here. So Wish pushes in, kills a couple of the vultures. But these tanks are going to ultimately keep them at arm's length. But Dragoons have range. They'll be able to shoot at this eBay. So it'll get pulled back. Uh-oh. A couple of the Dragoons were following it. Got blowed up by them tanks. So, Wish is just building his army up back home. Got 5 gateways up and running. He's got a Templar Archives under construction. Now, last game we saw him go Dark Templar. But that was in kind of like a mega scrappy defensive position. I'd be curious to see if we go Dark Templar again, or if he goes High Templar. Tries to get those Storms, tries to get those Archons, see if he can get some drops in with those. But stylistically, it'd be kind of cool to see more Dark Templar. Alright. Much of his army has moved up towards the front. He's got observers in good spots. Unfortunately, he was not prepared for the turrets that got placed right underneath that one. Ooh, and a third base. I didn't actually see this one get snuck out. I love it when people do this too. I love it when people just like get a third base or, you know, fourth base, you know, whatever expansion, and it's just completely undefended. it's just like, okay, don't attack here, please. Ooh, good. The siege tanks are going to draw in the army, get a couple extra shots here. But Wish will retreat back up to this high ground, which I've begun to notice is really standard for this map. This is kind of the spot to own on both of these locations. And yeah, Genesis is starting to gain some ground. He's starting to try to secure this corridor so he can actually defend this base if he needs to. Because this base does have a second entry, right? You can go down this ramp. And this is kind of a tough choke as well if you can get some siege tanks up in here with like a couple turrets, maybe some mines. Like this is actually a really tough spot to attack into. But he needs to get some stuff there first. I like that he's moving these turrets forward. And look at this production tab. Holy crap. Wish has a lot of stuff going on. He's building another expansion down here in the bottom right. Getting an Observer. Getting High Templar. Getting shield upgrades. Armor upgrades. Weapon upgrades. Getting Observer range. Like sight range. Observer vision. So he must have had a lot of money and was just like, let's put down a gajillion forges. Yikes. Yeah, this base was undefended. Protoss is going to be able to just make it pick up, fly away. Meanwhile, getting this main base here means this natural is probably shortly to follow. And a whole bunch of Dark Templar no, sorry, High Templar and Dragoons on the way. Now, this is a pretty substantial tank line, but Genesis needs to break out because he's going to need that third base. He needs that third base to keep up with the economy. He can fight very efficiently on the defense, but he will get starved out eventually. This is cool. Dropping some supply depots out here. This will give vision. This will also soak up a bunch of damage. You know, what's up, Bryce Hat? But I've never done this. I like it. And overall, Wish has a lot of, like, has entire vision of the map outside of Genesis's base. So no surprises for him. I feel like he has complete understanding of what's going on. Okay, both players pushing into this location at the same time, and Wish is just going in for the kill. This is a lot of tanks, though. This is a lot of tanks. And I think if he targets his fire over here, he can kill these Dragoons, but this is a lot of Dragoons heading up this way. Good storms being dropped down. A storm might have been more effective on these tanks, but these tanks on the high ground are just going to do a continuous number, right? And earlier we were talking about like the observers, but these turrets are zoning out those observers completely, so the Dragoons don't really have great vision up here. So yeah, a lot of Dragoons going down and dying, but that was a huge amount of damage from Wish as well. So basically resetting both players' armies. I like he's taking his weakened High Templars, he's forming an Archon. And Genesis, right? Genesis's whole mission, his whole purpose in life at this moment is to get that third base up and secure this line of communication from his natural over to that third. Now, in the meantime, right, Genesis has been building a lot of factories, so the ability to rejuvenate his army is there, but it's the income that's lacking. He can only build so fast. Meanwhile, we have this going on for Wish. Huge gateway explosion, triple Stargate. We've got carriers, ladies and gentlemen, being built 3 at a time. And I've heard carriers are pretty good. Triple Stargate. It's like double rainbow, but scarier. Alright, third base is down. Killing an observer, which always feels amazing. And now he's starting to get things over here, right? We were talking about how difficult this is to attack into. He's getting those mines, getting a couple siege tanks. This will be very helpful. I don't really know what he's trying to accomplish here. I'm also surprised at how far he's getting. These tanks really not covering this entire corridor. So this is kind of annoying, but it almost felt like he was opening supply, maybe? I don't know. He's getting some damage in with it. But that'll get cleaned up. And meanwhile, he's got the rest of his army. What's in this shuttle? Nothing's in the shuttle as of yet. How many gateways do we have? We got 4, 6, 10, 11. 11 gateways. Triple Stargate. All the upgrades. Protest is starting to look scary. Got 1-1. Got 1-1-1. But Genesis is getting his economy up and rolling now. But the problem is there's just not enough anti-air. I think that these carriers are just going to be a complete surprise. They're going to start building their interceptors. And I think once they hit, they are going to pack an absolute wallop. What we're likely to see is as soon as he catches wind that there's these carriers, we're going to see all of these transfer to Goliath building. Right, it's the quiet before the storm. Protoss is maxed out. Yeah, Wish has a gajillion probes, by the way, too. 93 probes. Alright, and the push has started. He's weakening and loosening everything up with the Dragoons and the Zealots. They're pushing in, killing all these vultures, getting a bunch of mine detonations, jumping on top of the tanks, and here come the carriers. They have arrived, and there is almost nothing left. A couple of turrets is not going to be enough here. This is going to be so efficient for Wish. And what do we have on the production tab? Goliath range and all of the factories producing Goliaths. That's the emergency oh shit button. Leo, let's build as many things that shoot rockets upwards as we can. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts taking his SCVs and maybe building some turrets as well. A little surprised the Goliath range is only coming up now as well. Oh man, these carriers just doing so much damage. We can keep track if they weren't building. We can see how many kills they have. Nice little storm there on the bridge. So he's effectively cut off this third base, right? He's isolated it. Now, he's not producing out of his... I think right now what Wish is doing is he's trying to be very careful with these carriers, make sure he doesn't lose them unnecessarily. I say that, and then these Goliaths walk right up underneath, and they're going to end up killing a couple of them. Yeah, he must have been back macroing, because now we see 6 Dragoons and 5 Zealots being constructed. In addition to the 3 carriers. Yeah, these carriers are just toast. A lot of these Goliaths are shooting at interceptors right now. They could probably just target this down. And off it goes. So, after the dust... Whoa, that was a weird hiccup. After the dust settles, like... Terran's able to repopulate and re-secure this path to the third base. The defenses at the third base weren't really touched a whole lot. There was like 1 or 2 siege tanks that went down. And so this is going to be defended very easily. I really kind of wish Wish had kept those carriers alive. They kind of just parked there. But he has such an engine when it comes to production. Got 94 probes. He's just going to send wave after wave. Goodness. Look at this. Look at this production tab. Absolutely insane. And these zealots are just going to get all up on top of this. Now, this isn't going to be enough, but again, we're seeing kind of just the loosen up. Now, the carriers are going over here. There's a lot more higher density of turrets. He needs to be careful with these. That's a lot of turrets. Like, that's going to just melt these carriers. But Wish is feeling really rich, and he's just diving these in here. Oh, man. See, I feel like if he had just kept these and had 6 carriers at this point in time, this game would be over. Oh man, he's just giving these away. But I still like Wish's position. And here comes a drop with a Reaver. I think we've almost seen every unit. Look at these upgrades. Scarab damage, air upgrades, more carriers. You got some zealots in here now. Once they kill this vulture, if he can prioritize these turrets, he'll be good to go. But Genesis, realizing a lot of the supply, a lot of the time is being spent on constructing these carriers. He's wiped those carriers out. There's one left with like 1 interceptor. He's going to start trying to get some damage. This is a big push. And it's filled with Goliaths, so these carriers aren't going to do anything for it. Now, Wish is building wave upon wave of gateway units. But I don't think he's going to be able to defend this base. Which is only one of like his 7. And he's just going to just give it up. You can have the natural. I've got carriers. And it's interesting at this point of the game too, because Protoss, you know, I've seen this a lot. They'll basically build another main base somewhere, and so after their upgrades are complete and everything, like they can lose this main and just be okay. So many Goliaths here. I want him to target fire these carriers. I know there's a time and place for killing interceptors, but Wish hasn't been microing these, so you can just sit there and just completely pummel them. The Zealots are coming up here, getting way more damage than they deserve. These Goliaths, they're just dancing. They're not even shooting. Gotta love Brood War. Still building interceptors. The third one, I guess, never went down over there. I actually missed it. This got cleaned up. Sorry about that. Totally didn't even see that happen. I guess that one carrier just sat there after the Reaver and the Zealots went in, and they just completely annihilated it. So now, like, Genesis is really kind of screwed because there's no money here, no money here. Everything's mining gas, hyper efficient, as fast as possible. And he's kind of doing a last-ditch effort to just secure this base and start getting an income again. He's sitting at 48 minerals, no income coming in. And so even though that base went down, Wish is still at 78 probes that are mining effectively. So Wish is in a really, really strong spot. This carrier is just floating around, seeing where this base is. He knows that the bases are mined out. He's just got to find where the money's coming in. Got a huge SCV transfer here, but not being escorted. These Dragoons are going to get on top of it, and it's just going to be disgusting. You can see all the interceptors on the map. I love it. Just a cloud of red exploding. Genesis is trying, though. I don't think he's going to throw in the towel until he's made this last-ditch effort. But his boys are surrounded. Tanks can't shoot up. The Goliaths aren't going to be here for very long. Does this carrier even have interceptors? He's trying to defend his last mining base. Yeah, this game's over, unfortunately. But this was a really fun game. This was really cool. I think Wish just got to a point where he had so much money, so much production. And he's so upgraded as well. I mean, the Terran is too, sitting at 3-3 upgrades. Genesis does keep this base alive. Shoots down that shuttle, floating his other CCs out. Somehow these SCVs are surviving. I mean, carriers are tough and annoying, but they don't kill a lot very fast. Especially when their interceptors are being shot down like crazy by these turrets and everything. But that's basically it. Like 39 supply to 198, not sustainable. We'll be seeing the GG here real quick. What are you saying, Rice Hat? You got all sorts of chats in here. Talking about Goliath range. Yeah, the timing of that was really strange. Yeah, a lot of the carriers did get shot down, I think, unnecessarily. Yep, Protoss ended up winning. All right, so Genesis throws in the towel. I think we're at 1-1. It's crazy how short my memory is. But that was a long one. So I think we're at 1-1. We've got another game for this the winner bracket semifinals. And it is going to be on Polypoid. All right, Polypoid. Very standard map. We have blue Terran, Genesis up in the top right. Red Protoss, Wish in the bottom right. So no eggs or anything on the ramp. Very small natural, but it's got a tiny choke as well for defense. And then for the third base, you have an elevated mineral only at kind of like the triangle location, and an elevated third with 2 ramps just to the side of that. Look at this thing. Jeez, this thing's crazy. The Ursidon. It like really stood out right there. But we'll get back into it. So what have we seen? We saw the first game, the counterpunch by Genesis. The second game, we saw Wish really teching up heavily, expanding like crazy. That was like the name of the game. And I don't think he had the tightest contain. I think Genesis probably could have broke out a little bit earlier. But Wish kind of sent a message early on. He like punched pretty hard early in the game. And I think Genesis was playing a little bit turtly from that point. Which allowed Wish to kind of expand all over the place. And once he got to that critical mass of bases, he just had so much money coming in. He was able to just rapidly upgrade everything, go into carriers. We saw just about everything except Arbiter tech out on the field. So Wish is doing a clockwise scout. Getting this gateway down. Simulator. Looks like Genesis is going to be heading down to the bottom right. Be seeing Wish's base. Oh, no, never mind. Going cross again. I think he did this last game, too. He must have a decision point for cross-spawn Protoss. Okay, he sees that he's not cross-spawn. We'll see which direction he goes after that. He may even go up here to the top left after he sees the direction this probe comes in with this Marine. Marine will start chasing this probe around. Now he's going bottom right. He'll see Wish's base here in just a second. Zealot's heading straight up. It's going to be following this this probe. And the factory's going down here for Genesis. Got 2 Marines out now. He's building a third. That'll definitely be enough to hold off this this individual Zealot. Cybernetics Core, second gateway. So second gateway before expansion. Likely to see a bit more aggression from Wish. And it was seen as well by Genesis. We'll see if that alters what his game plan is. It does go up to 4 Marines. And he's continuing Marine production. So we saw this game 1. Not sure where he's going with this. Okay, he might just be building a machine shop. Early Robobay, too. Oh, wait. He canceled it. Okay, so the SCV came in, saw the second gateway, he canceled the gateway, and ended up going robotics facility. Interesting. Look to see if a support bay gets built here in a second. So Genesis did this build in the first game. So this is what we saw, kind of like his aggressive counterpunch that went well for him. Not terribly surprised that he went back to it. It worked really well for him in the first game. And I think that this actually might be a really effective kind of just like build order counter to what's going on over here on this side. Yeah, with this expansion going down, not seeing the Robo facility pumping anything out right now. Yeah, I think Genesis is just going to have a really powerful early military. And we'll see if he pushes out. He might wait, fight off whatever comes in, and then kind of do a counterattack. Pulling some of the boys with it. He did that game 1 as well. Okay. So he's going to kill this Zealot and this Dragoon. This other Dragoon, I imagine, is going to run home. Yep, boop. Let's not stick around here. We have the support base, so he is going Reavers. Oh, man, the Reaver might be a little too late. He's going to have 2 Dragoons and the Reaver on the way by the time this huge force shows up. Taking off the SCVs, trying to delay this as much as possible. The SCVs moving ahead of the rest of the army to both tank shots and try to get us around. This is really tricky from the Protoss perspective, trying to keep these Dragoons alive, but he is doing a good job of making the army run away from his main base, right? Like, they're all following these Dragoons. That's huge, actually. Like, he should have been diving in, and he does so with the Vultures, gets a mine off. He loses one of them, but he's got some of these mines here. And so now the Reaver's out here to play. This expansion's kind of dead in the water right now, and here comes the rest of the army. So he's going to send the 1 Dragoon in. There's not much here, right? But it doesn't matter. It's just 1 Dragoon. It would take forever to kill anything. And he's going to get a bunker down. Oh, man. This looks really bad for Wish. Oh, okay, the expansion does get killed. Genesis is in such a commanding position right here. I like this early push that he does. This is very similar. This is actually more effective than it was game 1. And we'll see how he tries to use this shuttle. There's just so much here, though. Like, there's so many Marines that they can either shoot down the shuttle, or, you know, there's so many mines as well. They're doing, like Reaver drop micro. Would be a little bit too much to ask in that spot. So instead, he's opting to take it across and start slamming it into the natural of Genesis. All right, here we go. The moment of truth. Drops her right in the middle. Boom, Scarab. That's got to be so satisfying. Alright, he's going to fly it into the main base now. Meanwhile, down near his own base, he is just contained in here. Building Dragoons 2 at a time. The turrets are up, and they're going to knock out that shuttle. But the Reaver's here now, trying to get a little bit of SCV damage here. The tank's going to knock this out. Boom. Reaver dead. There goes the offensive capability for Wish at the moment. And now all the attention is here on the front door. You've got siege mode being researched. This was kind of the trigger for like the end of the game last time. Once siege mode is up, this is going to be astronomically difficult for the Protoss to get out of here. We have 2 bunkers. He's filling up this second one here. Now there's no SCV down here to repair, but there's a siege tank, man. like good luck getting out of this ramp. But he's getting another Reaver up, and he's getting another shuttle up behind that. He's doing everything that Wish can to come back from this. He's getting a second Robo facility, likely to get 2 Reavers at a time. And Reavers are efficient. Oh man, even with the Dragoon on the ramp, the tank's able to hit it while it's trying to shoot this bunker. Great series. So many more probes. Like, Wish isn't out of it, but he's very contained. This is rough, and it's only going to get worse down here. Upgraded Scarab damage coming. Yeah, he's doubling down on Reavers. I'm wondering if the shuttle is actually the way to go. The shuttle builds pretty quick. But I'm wondering, like, is he going to keep trying to take this across? Ooh, he might try to go behind. Now he's got to be careful about these mines. Does pick it up. Beautiful. But these Marines. Get it out of there. Okay, and the shuttle flies away. We'll check back on it in a second. Vulture scouting around, making sure there's that he has a good read on the situation. Probably drop some mines at these expansions. eBay getting up here for some much needed vision for the siege tank. It's going to zone off effectively the ramp. And here comes the shuttle. Now he knows the turrets are generally, you know, by the minerals. Flies into them anyway. Loses everything. That was a bummer. Yeah, that definitely hurt. He needed that to stay alive. Alright, Zealot's trying to poke down here. Taking a lot of damage, but they're doing their intended purpose, and it's to drag these mines. See that? Killed all those vultures. The Reaver, that was unfortunate. So he's lost 2 Reavers. That would have been very helpful here on the front lines. And now I'd say Wish is really in a tough spot. It's just so hard to attack down this ramp. Like, he can't hit this tank. This tank just has this entire ramp covered with 2 bunkers supporting it, and it continues to be not upgraded, but repaired by this SCV. Another Reaver drop. Trying to get what he can, but that turret in this bunker, like, the Reaver just has to sit right there. The siege tank's going to shut this down real quick. Oh, man. And the shuttle and Reaver go down. Yeah, this has been pretty much the whole game right here. The fight of the ramp. And Wish just tosses in the towel. He knows he's unable to break out. Genesis had it. The 2 games that he won. So Genesis will move on to the finals. We still have the lower bracket semifinals to play in this bracket. And then the actual finals to execute after that. So, great games by both players. It was fun seeing Genesis's TVP build, the one that he won in Game 1 and Game 3. Very aggressive, but very effective as well. Very cool. All right. I am going to take a quick break. I need to check on something. And I'll be back, and I have a request to cast a game in StarCraft 2.